Big tech versus nation states. It is slowly becoming the defining rivalry of our generation. On paper, it should be a no contest. One is backed by the full might of courts and parliaments. The other, a handful of companies based out of Silicon Valley. Like I said, it should be a no contest, but it is. It is intensifying and it is complicated. And this should give you an idea about how powerful big tech really is. They're staring down elected governments. They're ignoring national laws. And they're banning and censoring heads of state, all in the name of freedom of speech. Big tech clearly won round one. That's because governments were not really fighting. In fact, they had no idea that they were in a fight. But now we are in round two of this fight, and it's a lot more interesting. India threw the first punch with a new set of IT laws. Facebook has grudgingly agreed, but Google and Twitter are throwing tantrums. What are they saying? Twitter says the new laws will lead to a surveillance regime. No proof, it's just an outlandish claim. So the government of India has served another notice to them. A last warning to comply with the new law. What happens if Twitter continues to resist? The government has warned of consequences under the IT Act. Will this mean a ban or a temporary suspension? The fact is we don't know. It depends on how Twitter chooses to respond and how far it takes this. And here's the thing, India is just one front in this battle. Big tech has become a big headache for governments all over the world. They're all grappling with one question. Who is big tech? Is it a content creator, a content editor, or just a platform? Because it cannot be all three. Look at what's happening in Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu is lashing out at social media. He claims that they're muzzling right-wing voices. His son's accounts on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram were blocked. There are two sides to this story. One, of a frustrated prime minister on the verge of being ousted. And second, of social media having it both ways. Netanyahu's son posted a political rival's address on social media. He was inciting protests online, say critics. You could say the suspension was warranted. But the question is, who gets to make that call? Let me give you another example. Nigeria. They have banned Twitter completely. Anyone who still uses it can be prosecuted in Nigeria. Again, there are two sides to the story. One of a government that may have gone too far. The second of a social media company silencing a head of state. Nigeria's president tweeted about the country's civil war. It was seen as a veiled threat to separatists. Should the president have been censored? Perhaps yes. But then again, why does Twitter get to make that call? Is it a platform or an editor? This is almost like letting vigilantes loose. Yes, they will fight for justice, but you can't replace cops with vigilantes. Social media cannot be judge, jury, and executioner. There has to be some oversight, there has to be some regulation, and this is the thrust behind India's new IT laws. But big tech is consumed by its own self-righteousness. They genuinely believe only they can protect the freedom of speech. What does their track record say? Can we trust big tech? Trust them only to steal our data. These companies will go to any lengths to make money, including cheating. Big tech has always used anti-competitive tactics. Until now, the laws just couldn't keep up. Judges, frankly, did not understand much of the digital lingo. The internet was not really considered a marketplace, so big tech slipped under the radar. But now the law is catching up. Look at what happened in France. France has announced a massive fine on Google, around $267 million. And this is not even about the amount. This is about the precedent that France has set. Google repeatedly preferred its own ad agencies over rivals. They had something that others did not, a dominant market position. So slowly these rival agencies were squeezed out of the market. Big tech does this all over the world. The difference is people are noticing it only now. Such fines and penalties, by the way, do make an impact. It has made an impact in France already. Google has agreed to reform its advertisement deals. And that's not all. They had to openly admit to cheating. Now, even the G7 is targeting big tech. Their foreign ministers agreed on a minimum 15% corporate tax. This is squarely aimed at tech companies. They're among the smallest taxpayers, but they consistently top the Forbes list. So the world has three main problems with big tech. One is unfair business tactics. The second is tax evasion. And the third is lack of regulation. And all three come down to frameworks and rules. Our laws were made for a physical, tangible society, the one we live in, not the virtual world, not the internet. Big tech had a great run in this unregulated world online. Now that governments are ending this free run, they're acting out. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.